Buddhu Saranai, let me welcome you to our international Dhamma program where we are having for the Medin full moon Poya day, where we are having a Dhamma talk on living with perfect bliss to reach liberation from existence. Venerable Kalubowila Amathagaveshi Tero, Venerable Teros, our committee members, Dhamma friends, today we are very happy to welcome you to this international Dhamma program on the Medin full moon Poya day. And we have with us, as I mentioned earlier, our Venerable Kalubowila Amathagaveshi Tero, who has been with us earlier. In fact, at the last, I was just checking up when we had the last Medin full moon Poya day last year. Venerable Tero gave a Dhamma talk on mindfulness leading to liberation in present secular world. So I think it may be a coincidence that on this Medin full moon Poya day also, we have Venerable Tero present here. So there is also special significance today on the Medin full moon Poya day because it was the day that the Lord Buddha visited his birthplace, Kimulwatpura, 7 years after enlightenment. It was on this occasion that his father, King Suddhodana, paid obeisance at the feet of the Buddha. And of course, something very special happened on this occasion. The Buddha performed Yama Mahapilahara, the twin miracles in the sky, a stream of fire emanating from one side of his body and a stream of water from the other side, which was, I think, a very, very special feature that took place. And after which all the Sakyans came to pay obeisance to the Buddha. I think this is a very, very rare occasion and where everyone understood the enlightenment of the Lord Buddha. The Buddha delivered the Vesantara Jatakaya on this occasion. The Buddha also went on to meet Princess Yasodhara with King Suddhodana and also ordained Prince Nanda and Venerable Saryu to ordain son Rahul. And this was an occasion where I think the Venerable the King Suddhodana made a request to Buddha to not to accept, where Buddha accepted the request from King Suddhodana not to ordain a child without the consent of the parents, to which the Buddha agreed, and this continues today. So there are so many other special features which I'm sure that all of you are aware of. And today, as I said, we have our title of the talk is on living with perfect bliss to reach liberation from existence. So on this special day of Medin full moon Poya day, we are very thankful to Venerable Kalubowila Amathagaveshi Tero. In fact, I must wish Amathagaveshi Tero a very, very happy birthday because birthday was yesterday. And we are very happy that Venerable Tero is present here today to deliver the Dhamma talk. And I must also say that the Venerable Tero is currently in Kurunegala, and I must thank his Mr. Prasanna, who has made all the arrangements for Venerable Tero to deliver the Dhamma program online via Zoom. So briefly to tell, Venerable Amathagaveshi Tero is a meditation teacher or Kammattanacharya, the principal advisor to the Dhammaparayana Foundation in Colombo and a trustee and chief advisor to the Daham Madura and Suwasita Daham Sevana Kurunegala. He has undertaken a project for to provide building facilities to meditating Buddhist monks and meditation hall for lay devotees at the Paramartha Dharmayatana Sanasuma and Aranya with facilities at Bogamua, Kurunegala, which is situated in solitude environment. And I'm sure that all our Dhamma friends the Venerable Thero will invite you, and also maybe if there's any assistance that is required, that they will be able to support in this project. So the theme today, as I said earlier, is living with perfect bliss to reach liberation from existence. So I will now invite the Venerable Thero to deliver Pansil and thereafter to deliver the Anusasana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Please recite the Namaskarya to
Namo Dassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Dassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Dassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa.
Buddham Saranam Gacchami,
Aham Saranam Gacchami.
Dhammam Saranam Gacchami,
Dhammang Saranam Gacchami.
Sangham Saranam Gacchami,
Sangham Saranam Gacchami.
Dutiyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami,
Yampi Buddhang Saranam Gacchami.
Dutiyampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami,
Yampi Dhammang Saranam Gacchami.
Dutiyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami,
Yampi Sanghang Saranam Gacchami.
Tatiyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami,
Yampi Buddhang Saranam Gacchami.
Tatiyampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami,
Yampi Dhammang Saranam Gacchami.
Tatiyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami,
Yampi Sanghang Saranam Gacchami.
Sarana Gamanam Sampunnam.
Bhante.
What you recited was that you take Buddha to achieve Nibbana as refuge, or you come under his shade to achieve Nibbana and to make your life successful, and you guide Dhamma as the teacher to make your life successful and to achieve Nibbana, and you will follow the path of the Adi ones to make your life successful and achieve Nibbana. Thus, we took refuge under the triple gem, or accept triple gem as my guidance. Let's observe oneself. Panatipata Virmani Sikha Padang Samadhyami.
Panatipata Viramani Sikha Padan Samadhyami.
I shall not destroy the life of any living being. Adinna Dana Virmani Sikha Padam Samadhyami.
Dinadana Viramani Sikha Padan Samadhyami.
I shall not accept anything which is not given to me or fall into the status of robbery. Kamesu Michachara Virmani Sikha Padam Samadhyami.
Kamesu Mityachara Viramani Sikha Padan Samadhyami.
As a human being, when the senses are active, mostly human exceed the limits of using the sense doors. But on this holy day, I shall refrain in misusing the senses, moving beyond the accepted human standards. Musavadha Virmani Sikha Padam Samadhyami.
Savada Viramani Sikha Padan Samadhyami.
I shall be mindful and not use my speech and conduct verbally to abuse anyone or to make anyone suffer because of my utterances. Surameraya Machapama Dattana Virmani Sikhapadam Samadhyami. I shall abstain from intoxication in order to maintain my mindfulness. Tisaranena saddhing panchasilang dhammang sadhukang surakitam katva appamadena sampadeta. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. May my homage be to him, the blessed one, the worthy one, and the fully enlightened one. Appamadena sampadeta arabhata nikkamata junjata buddha sasane dunata bhachuno senam alagharamba kunjaro yo imasmin dhamma vinaye appamatto vihessati paya jati sansaram dukkhaskandham karishyati. Dear devotees, today, as Lakshman mentioned, is the holy Medin full moon Poya day. In Buddhist calendar, it's called Medin full moon Poya day. It's the beginning of springtime in this eastern bloc, and therefore it's considered to be a very holy Poya day. And today, the discussion is held under the banner Living with Perfect Bliss to Reach Liberation. So with the time available, we shall endeavor to understand what is this perfect bliss that we are going to discuss, and the perfect bliss mentioned and declared by Lord the Buddha, and through which how to reach liberation or Nibbana. When you say living with perfect bliss, before that, we have to understand in the mundane world, there's human live in poverty, live in luxury, living in harmony, living with frustration, and so many other facets of when you say living with. The Gatha I recited as the opening comments, Appamadena Sampadeta, that's where we have to commence with, that is Buddha's true words. Appamadena means we need to understand it's literally not delaying anything or hurry up, time is running out. It's not that meaning exactly. What Buddha meant was be mindful. Be mindful, and that would lead to the liberation. Otherwise, when you do the normal translation of Appamadena, you get that feeling that hurry up, don't delay. But exact meaning is Appamadena is be mindful, cultivate your mind in such a way as he pronounced it, Sachitta Pariyodapana, purified mind leads to Appamadena. Then the other section of the Gatha, Arabhata Nikkamata, sounds very heavy, but that gives the exact meaning what we need to make this stage on to discuss its perfect bliss in liberation. As per Buddha, one has to arouse your energy, strive on, exert the mind yourself in the Buddha's teaching. It's very important. It doesn't fall from the sky. You don't get through inheritance like most of the Sri Lankans. We found Dhamma through inheritance. What you inherit to reach liberation, one has to arouse one's energy, strive on. That's very important. Strive on. Exert the mind yourself, which is the most important. How to exert mind means that comes the purification of the mind that gives rise to the famous popular topic of meditation, and also it gives rise or reach you to enlightenment. Buddha mentions an example how to do that, how to strive, how to exert is like sweep away the army of death. How to sweep away by exerting the mind, striving on, arousing the mind. What you do is you sweep away the army of death. As a strong elephant does a hut of reed. A strong elephant, he doesn't need to spend a lot of energy to crush a hut made out of reed. It's just a matter of 1 foot out there, that hut become destroys. So that's a very fine example. Buddha gives a lot of similes in the discloses. And this is just like an elephant destroy a reed hut. Why do you need to arouse the energy? Strive on, exert the mind yourself. You need to hear, pay attention. He never mentioned about praying. He never mentioned about offering various kinds of offerings. He didn't talk about other development, what people does by adapting to various lifestyles, by cultivating values. But he gave very much prominence to the mind. That's why arousing your energy comes through the development of mind. More than physical, here the energy means the mind. Then strive on is also a mental activity. It's not a physical activity, striving on. And exert the mind, of course, you will understand that directly what to do with the mind. Why this important was given to the mind? Because, as you all know, when we look around in the human sphere, human prefers to dwell in the pleasure-based realm because they search for happiness through the sense pleasures. Human search for happiness through the sense pleasure. Even this moment, whole world, human moves in that direction. You search for happiness through the sense pleasure, but the issue is it's built around self. Now, this is only explained in Buddhism. People search for happiness through the sense pleasure built around self. And further, it's becoming interesting, which is maintained through ignorance. When you say ignorance here, it is not the fact that you are not educated. It doesn't indicate that you are dumb. It is the ignorance on the reality of the universe. When one is ignorant about the reality of the universe, he keeps on searching for happiness through the sense pleasure, especially when it's built around self. Actually, the entire focus of our theme is caught here, and this is called the conventional truth. When you say conventional, this is the mundane lifestyle. Out of nearly 9 billion or so human population on this planet, and also most of the devotee world, the lifestyle is mainly satisfying the sense desire. So it is called conventional truth, or you call it Sammuti Satya in Pali, or in the language you and I understand. That's a mundane lifestyle where there's one-way traffic to gallivant in the unending samsara. This is the catch there. Sense pleasures are seek because in mundane lifestyle, because there's one-way traffic to gallivant and your desire to travels through the unending samsara. When you say unending samsara, please understand the experience that one gains. Now, you are all devotees here, including myself. We gain experience through living, but we hardly getting to the sense of urgency of the misery that you are linked in this samsara journey. However much sermons are held, how much of discussion said, so many meditation sessions had, but people within that hall or within that premises, people get temporary bliss, get into temporary bliss, but once they walk out, they get back to this unending pleasure-based lifestyle. How to escape from this? There's no escape in the lay life unless one guides the Buddha's path, and therefore it starts with Buddha says, everybody should perceive the sense of urgency or the misery, the sources of emotional sense of urgency. In Pali, it's called Atta Sangvegavattu. One has to, with the life experience, one has to keep reflecting what happened. Number one is birth, jati, jara, vyati, chuti.
Sorry, Venerable Thero, can you unmute? It got muted.
Okay?
Yeah, now fine. Yeah.
So we will come back to where I got disconnected. One has to perceive the sense of urgency or the sources of emotions. Now, when you say emotionals, in Buddhism, it's not an accepted term to become emotional, but this is getting source of emotions to realize the misery of the samsaric existence. Number one is, as you know, birth. Birth is no misery, but when you are born, the activity you do, the process of mind evolution in that birth gives back birth to you, back again you are born. That's a misery. The birth is unending life after life. Then the next one is when you're born, old age comes. You know the misery of it, and especially in the present context of world where the artificial intelligence is taking over, parent caring and things like that are deteriorating fast on planet Earth. People's behavior is changing. So old age is a misery. Then disease is another misery. We all escaped the COVID situation, and there are enough and more sicknesses which loops the world universe where you could be subject to it at any time. So disease is a misery, and finally death. With death you part this and the happiness you were searching drown oneself because the activities of the body ceases and your consciousness escape, and that's the end of all what we have been doing on planet Earth in that world. Then comes the most interesting suffering in the lower states. It's again a part which the younger generations is reluctant to believe that there are suffering states in the universe. But of course, quantum physics and other things are proving this step by step. So suffering in the lower state is a real misery. You and I don't know unless we develop ourselves and reach nirvana, or at least sovan state, you're subject to get to the suffering in lower states. It's a huge misery there. Then another very interesting thing is misery of the past, rooted in the cycle of birth. This process is continuing. So the bandwagon or the karma package is continuing behind you. It's a misery. Then misery of the future. Then once you're born here, Chittakshana is the Buddhist way of explaining the mind moment. Mind moment consists of Pada Titibhanga, arise and passes away. It's beyond nanoseconds. And if I give you a figure closer to arithmetic, it's 675 trillion mind moments per second. It sounds such a tragedy that 675 trillion mind moments a second. It's a speed that you and I create meritorious or demeritorious activity. That's a speed. So with that speed, what happened is a future rooted in cycle of rebirth. Rooted in the past is by birth. You bring that bandwagon of karma behind you. And what you do here, it gets rooted in the cycle of birth, of rebirth back again. And finally, misery of the present rooted in search of food. You and I know this whole world economy, countries, politics, all depends. And poverty, hunger, campaigns against hunger, all that arise due to search of food. So these 8 sources of sense of urgencies has to be felt by a person if he is keen to get out from the samsara or to reach the bliss we are talking today as a subject. Again, devotees, although you realize these emotional things and start working how to get out from the samsara or how to restrain yourself in senses, still companionship is a very important thing. In Pali called sanseva. Today, what Lakshman is doing once a month on Poya days, this forum, is epitomes of companionship. There are nearly 8 factors which prevent oneself to develop in developing the bliss, to get out from samsara. Number one is through companionship, through listening to bad advice. People move out from this arena. We are talking about realizing the urgency and also the self built around you through the ignorance. So number one is through companionship, bad companionship, listening to bad advice, prevent your realizing this urgency. Number two is unwise reflection. People from Sri Lanka knows we are at a very sensitive juncture where what is true Buddha's words and what has been translated today in Pali, it called Saddhamma Pratirupaka. Who is correct? Who is wrong? Sangha is getting to huge kind of debates and arguing on the doctrine and how to apply to the current status of a developed world. So that all comes from unwise reflection and wrong, bad advice. Then it leads to inattentiveness and mental confusion. With the status of current living stress, there's a lot of, in Sinhala we call manasika asahane. There's mental confusion around that also prevents your searching this bliss and reaching liberation. Then lack of sense control. We discussed that at the commencement. Human is on the pleasure-based realm. Keep on searching for happiness through the sense pleasure. So unless you control the senses, lack of sense control will never allow you to get out from this misery. And then comes, with that lack of sense control, comes the threefold bad conduct. We call it action, speech, and mind. Citta, kaya, vachane. What happens? It leads to unwholesome, creating unwholesome status. Finally, what happens? You keep on creating unwholesome activity or mentality. Remember, at that speed of 675 trillion minds seconds, in a second mind moment. What happens? Thereby, the hindrances start playing out. You know the 5 hindrances: sense pleasure, ill will, sloth and torpor, the negative attitudes that you have, lack of the interest you have, and you are always on negative thinking. And that makes you tired easily. You fall asleep while meditating. Such kind of negative attitude comes. Then comes restlessness. You are restless about the future and the past, and comes repenting on what happens in the past. Kukkucha. That means you repent what happened. And finally, doubt. So these are the 5 hindrances. We call it in Sinhala, Obage Paramahatura. Your arch enemy is not the state or the governments or the ones you consider the enemy. The real enemy who blocked this path to get to bliss is the 5 hindrances. So why 5 hindrances start playing up? Because your Siddha Kaya Vachana your mind's action, speech, and mind is cultivated on bad conduct or unwholesome situation. Therefore, finally, all this incorrect companionship leads to again clinging, and the existence takes place. So, subject is living with perfect bliss to reach liberation. Now, with this explanation or discussion at this pace, people live in pleasure-based realm. They can't get out of it because they don't have sense of urgency, and they're always with the wrong companionship. When you say companionship, not only association, all what we discussed just now, which leads to uh, hindrances being doubled up at each action, and it leads to clinging and getting to unending existence. Therefore, we need to find out how to get out of this mess, how to get out of it. With artificial intelligence taking up, you know, without human, automotives are designed. Most of the medical intervention is through IT. With that, what happens? And daily people are bombarded with all luxuries. A mother's value at home is deteriorating because food's on wheels. You don't want a mother's love to cook, mother's care. It's just online, you order and food comes on wheels. There are so many things as lay people who are living in present condition. Even priesthood get caught to this kind of online stuff. So how to move out of it is one has to move out from this pleasure-based realm to the truth-based realm. That's what now Poya did today from morning. We were at conducting meditation and Sila Bhavana sessions. That is because we are showing the people move to truth-based realm because the world is burning around us in a big way. There is development, there's technology, but there is murder, just young kids go and kill whole family within seconds. And I always says, we see on the highways, sometimes main roads, when a duck or a bird is on the road, car stops. All cars stop, no arguments, because the animal is crossing. But if a poor scooter taxi drives a breakdown on the highway or on the main road, people who travel in these luxury vehicles, they get down and they get into massive arguments and try to throw that fellow out. That kind of mentality is there. Caring for parents are slowly deteriorating because people can't afford anymore because the economies are crashing. Wars are being fired up every time nations are fighting, and the extremes, terrorism is still taking place. With all such things, what Buddha's utterances come into life, move to truth-based realm if you wish to at least understand what it is bliss we are talking. Now let's understand what it is bliss. What's the evolution of bliss? With the experience of the life you are having on this planet Earth, people, as we just uttered early, live in the pleasure-based realm and they cultivate and seek pleasure through their senses, evolved around self, because ignorance is the major cause. Now, this pleasure is a understood word because you, mostly the lay people, Sometimes even clergy, if you are not developed, may seek pleasure. But pleasure evolute or move to happiness. What is happy? When you say happy, it's how fine you are. But happiness, comes through your lifestyle and the way you conduct yourself. When somebody asks, are you happy? People say, yes, I'm happy. But are you in happiness? That's a debatable issue. Your lifestyle, what you expect, do you get it? Your career or whatever it is. Therefore, pleasure moves to or evolve to happiness. People seek this pleasure or happiness through many ways in the universe. One is Parama Sukhavada, Hinduism, mainly, even in the ancient Rome, now in most of the places in the world where there's nothing but enjoyment. In the Western world, I don't know whether there are participants from that end. There's something called Thank God It's Friday, because working is such stressful. And thank God it's Friday. You're not going to, that doesn't mean that you're going to cool your head down or achieve bliss. It's a day that you go out clubbing, go eat, drink, come in the night, very late in the night, and you know what happens in all those places. And thereafter Sunday, you sleep it over. 2 effective days are lost in a very valuable human life. But that's a world trend. That's called Parama Sukhavada, Hinduism. Nothing but fun, nothing but searching happiness through pleasure. Then also by cultivating values, also people reach happiness. People become vegetarians, and there are so many other values, Through that also happiness could be seen. Cultivating values, the way you conduct yourself, where you refrain from things, comes happiness. And finally, which is mostly common in the world, human get your submission to Almighty God, and that's give pleasure. Because you believe there's somebody out there who made you to come here, who control your movements, and at his will you get out. Through that, you pray and you expect him to guide you. There you get pleasure. Nothing wrong. That's how the world rotates around pleasure and happiness. This happiness needs to lead to bliss. Now we come to our subject. What is bliss? Bliss arises when you eradication of craving, free of bondage. And finally, it is something, I mentioned in plain English, it's like yourself within a cool water bubble. Especially like these days when temperature is very high in Sri Lanka. Now, Prasanna put me into his office with the air condition. The whole day I was out there at Kurunagala ashram, about 300-400 people congregated in a small area. It was so hot. Now, when I get into this room, I feel very calm and cool. So, like that, you are in a very cool bubble. Your mind gets to that state by achieving bliss. So, this is the bliss we talk of today, which start leading to liberation. But bliss doesn't reach liberation at once, although the banner is bliss reaching to the existing, to liberation from existence. One has to get to ecstasy. Ecstasy means that is final emptiness concept. Just not empty. Just that is the final status of so-called happiness in the world. So devotees, please note, pleasure is a human-related thing. Nothing wrong with humor. That's how the world spins. And then through that people reach happiness. Nothing wrong. Again, that's the way of life. Buddha didn't criticize those things, but Buddha said, come on, move to truth-based realm. There comes bliss. The word itself changed. Happiness becomes bliss. Please note that this whole process is evolution of the mind, not the evolution of the body. When you say pleasure and happiness, it's mainly body related and mind also related when it comes to happiness. But when it comes to bliss and ecstasy, it's a total mind game. So therefore, when you feel that bliss, that you are in a cool water bubble, by eradicating of craving, free of bondage, we talk of nothing but suppressing those hindrances. Because when we spoke of sanseva, which prevents you from coming out from this happiness, we discussed about 5 hindrances, your arch enemy. Those are 5 mental blocks, not physical, mental blocks. So those mental blocks, what happens is we need to suppress him. How to suppress what is very biological aspect which generated through biological setup, your body. You need to still the mind. Otherwise, you will never reach this bliss that we talk about by keeping the hindrances down. When you say stillness in the mind, that's called tranquil meditation. A famous subject, famous marketing subject now, where people do business with that. Sometimes religious organizations also lead into business. Tranquility. Tranquility is the calmness of mind, bringing your mind to one-pointedness and called tranquil samatha bhavana. Samatha bhavana. Now, under this banner of living with perfect bliss, comes through not physical gaining of various aspects, your assets or money or whatever it is, your career development, etc., not that. It comes through nothing but tranquil meditation. You have to still the mind to see the truth. It's like when you're moving in the bullet train, if Mount Fujiyama you're passing and it's a sakura flowering time, it's a very beautiful sight, but you travel in a bullet train, you can't see that. Either you have to stop the train or get out from the train, see that beautiful scenery out there in Fujiyama, surrounded by sakura flowers. That's so in any scenery. You have to get down. Even on highway, if you are in very high speed, you can't enjoy what is around you, the scenery. So likewise, our mind runs, again, reminder, in mind second, 675 trillion times per second, we need to still the guide. How to do that? How to still the mind? Buddha gave 40 meditative subjects. We are here not to discuss about it. That's a long subject. It take more than 5-6 hours. But mainly those are all meditative subjects to still the mind. Out of that, the most famous is Anapanasati. Be mindful about your breathing. take the thought. Steps in that is very, very simple, not rocket science. Your mind is able to take a thought. That's how the biological aspect of the mind. It can take a thought, to take the thought of breathing. That's called meditative subject, taking the meditative subject. Then what do you do? Mind's design is you can't retain for a second because you know that speed we spoke about so many trillion times per second. So therefore, you need special skill, commitment. There comes the beginning, the word stanza we mentioned. Arouse yourself, strive, exert your mind. You need a lot of effort. Virya, which is a very, very important thing. We have virya to make money. We have virya to argue, debate, and win. But this is not that virya. This is virya to get out from unwholesome status, eradicate the five hindrances. Then what happens? You are able to take a thought, sustain the thought, which is not a easy human task because your biological system is designed that your mind runs at that speed. But when you sustain the thought, there comes joy and zest, or joy and tranquility. Actually, tranquility comes through vidarshana, but joy and zest, a very special mind condition indicating the relaxation of the body and mind. With that, a spur of a second, it doesn't take hundreds of years or couple of hours. It is the results are then and there. Akaliko. Akaliko. It's not time bound, it's here and now. Results are there. Then your mind gets to stillness. Moment your mind gets to stillness, that's a status because you are out at that time from this mundane, sensuous stuff. That status of the mind, which is a tranquil mind or still mind, the status of that mind could be labeled as bliss. I trust you understand what it is bliss because in the world, this bliss is explained so many ways. But today, on the Poya Day, our subject is how to liberate from the existence. Then the second step, first step is to get to truth-based realm and feel that sense of urgency and be out from those wrong companionships and 8 aspects we discussed. Then arouse yourself, exert, and direct your mind to keep the hindrances down and still the mind through tranquil meditation. Of course, Lakshman was asking whether there's time to meditate. I am not voting for developing tranquil meditation over Zoom because we don't know the status of the devotee out there, what he's doing. Is he listening while traveling? Is he listening with the crowd? Or whatever aspect. In tranquil meditation, you need a forerunner. You need the stature and the position of the body and so many other things needed to develop tranquil meditation. So just because to make the program fine on Zoom, tranquil meditation is not very effective, but we indicate that bliss is arise when the mind is still. Will that lead you to liberate from the samsara? No. It makes the stage fine. When the bliss is there in mind, the rightiness of the heart comes. When you have rightiness in the heart, that's beauty of that personality. He's a very tranquil guy. He's not a guy who get excited and do the wrong things in a spur second. He's always mindful because he has a stillness in the mind, and therefore his hindrances are not playing up like a layperson who has no limits in this pleasure seeking path. Now, we discussed that in order to liberate mind, the bliss has to move towards ecstasy. What is ecstasy of we are talking? Oh, in general, this word is abused sometimes when you say ecstasy, but this is mainly to, since the time is running out, I may say that this is exactly the vipassana meditation experience. Ecstasy comes with eradication of craving caused by ignorance and achieve absolute emptiness and the holy status. What is emptiness we are talking about? This is also misjudged, again explained incorrectly in the present context. As I told you, wrong interpretations are very popular among Buddhists inside the Buddhist theory. It's a big issue today in Sri Lanka, wrong explanation or Saddharma Pratirupaka. People like to understand easily and take shortcuts. Buddha has mentioned this during his lifetime. When time comes, it is not true words of Buddha, but it will be almost the same because people get educated and people start explaining Dhamma according to metaphysics, according to your business management principles, like the mindfulness today. It's a very famous word explained in business management level, but that's not the mindfulness Buddha spoke of. Buddha spoke of mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the feeling, mindfulness of the mind, and mindfulness of the mind formation. That's called satipatthana. There, with that, we move, one gets to ecstasy. That means you eradicate that craving, comes from unending pleasure, which built around self due to ignorance. Now, my dear devotees, that leads you to vipassana. One and only way. We just at the beginning spoke, one way to gallivant in the samsara, which we love to do. People love to do. They do meritorious thing and they keep wishing, may I go to the heavenly world. May I go there, enjoy, and come back when a Buddha is there. That's how the Sri Lankan mentality was created. We made a mess out of it. So we miss the opportunity of Nibbana in a less complicated life, which we had about 50, 60 years back. But now people are educated. There's just like the bad side of artificial intelligence, there's a better stuff also. The Tripitaka is out there due to satellite. Anybody can read in any translation. So there are benefits, and therefore one has to, once you still the mind and get into the state of bliss in your mind, journey doesn't end from there. Their only real journey starts towards liberating from the samsara. That is vipassana meditation, or you call it insight meditation, or you can call it investigation. No more closing the eyes and taking a subject, sustaining subject. All that is not done. The mindfulness you achieve, or the stillness of the mind you achieve, is directed to analyze the reality of the universe. To make it short, you commence with segregating mind and matter. You know matter, your body is a matter, living matter, non-living matter, your car, your house or whatever it is. Living is your spouse or kids or relatives or friends or human, animal, they're all living objects. So therefore, matter consists of elements. Elements are Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, the way in the Buddhist text, hard element, liquid element, energy element or calorific element and the air element. Buddha keep dissecting that to 24 sub-elements called Varna, Gandha, Rasa, Oja, color, taste, odor, nutrition, life faculty, gender faculty, space element, etc., etc. Present day, the educated world, the developed world of science may explain molecules, atoms, neutrons, protons, bosons, and all the latest dissection of the uh, matter, which proves Buddhism 100% truth. Matter means the elements of the universe. You and I who participate here, although my uh, body light falls on that due to technology, you may see me on the screens. I can see Lakshman, beautiful face on the screen. But that's all. What are we seeing? We see a set of elements there. It sounds a little bit, you may think priest is going bonkers. No, that is the reality. When you are in the pleasure world, you think, oh, this guy is mad. How can he say there's nothing, there are elements? There's a person out there. But to see that, you have to still the mind. You have to get the mind into a proper bliss. Then you will lead to ecstasy by developing your vidarshana insights. That is the true core of medicine, of Buddhism. Learn and understand and perceive matter as elements. And then elements are associated with consciousness. Consciousness is nothing but a generation of mind activity. If material is elements, it becomes a flux. And mind, if it's a cognitive series, where a process of mind process like touch, feel, perceive, mind formation, and consciousness in action, again, it gives rise to a source of energy. Like we say, look, the bulb is burning, there's light on. That's true, there's light on. But what's happening inside, energy is arising and passing away, but we see it as a light or bulb. But energies keep arising and passing. Same thing here. Same thing here. Mind and matter is a flux, and it generated due to ignorance. There comes the cause and effect. One day, the disciple Ananda asked from Buddha, so why are you emphasizing so much of cause and effect? He said, Ananda, dependent origination, of cause and effect is nothing but profound. Nothing but profound. That cut short myself explaining for hours because you need at least 10, 15 hours to get in to proper theoretical analysis of cause and effect. It is the hub of Buddhism. No other religion on this planet Earth talks about cause and effect into that detail. And Buddha encircled all that into niyama, law of nature, into the law of the nature, bija, the law of the genetics, and law of karma, law of the consciousness, and the law of special Dhamma to create such personalities as a Buddha. Now see how scientific it is, how true it is. That's the beauty of Dhamma. is the beauty of Dhamma, that with the science developing, there's one aspect or one declaration will come surface out and shines out, that is Buddha's doctrine, because it's very scientifically based. It's not based on an unseen creator as such. It is nothing but nature. So with this insight, one has to develop to get to ecstasy or to release or eradicate craving, which leads you to existence. You start with segregating, understanding, perceiving mind and matter as a flux, which has arisen due to dependent origination. There are 12 elements in that 12th step. We call it avijja, paccaya, sankara. People keep reciting without understanding the practical link of that. Please read, understand, and try to perceive 100% that you are here due to cause and effect. What happens around is nothing but cause and effect. And it starts with ignorance, and ignorance of not knowing reality, we discussed it earlier, leads to creation of meritorious and demeritorious sankhara. What happens with that? With that cause, there comes the craving. Moments craving comes, what happens? Consciousness in action. Your karma is in action. We call it the package of karma, which comes from the birth, and the package we add at the rebirth going out from here. That, if you realize that, you will start acting fast. Oh my God, what a mess, what a sense of urgency that you have to have. Because this package is getting collected at 675 trillion speed a moment. And therefore, dear devotees, this cause and effect is something you have to, with very mindfulness, with a still mind, you have to analyze how ignorance gives rise to craving, and craving gives rise to consciousness. When the body and mind get separated at the time of death, how this consciousness as an energy search for another embryo to make life again. That's a whole Kamanyana process. Again, that's another massive session of Dhamma discussion. Buddha said, Achintya subject one is karma. Easily you can't discuss and close it out. Such a massive arena of explanation. So therefore, karma leads you to back into existence. So there are 12 steps in that, and then comes life, then comes the faculties, then you come the senses from outside, and then you crave again you cling, again rebirth comes. All the 12 stages are there. Please understand, you have to break it only at two places. One is you have to break the ignorance and destroy the craving. How to do it is nothing but perceive that this whole existence is nothing but 5 aggregates of mind and matter, which is a flux of the universe, arise due to cause and effect. And anything arising out of cause and effect, the nature is it arises and vanishes. This is the final goal of liberating from existence. Because existence comes through craving and clinging. Tanha and bhava give rise to existence. So therefore, devotees, finally what we have to do is, after perceiving that 5 aggregates arise due to cause and effect, what happens? Your sakkaya, the fact that etam mama eso hamasmi imeso attati. Buddha, in the recital to Paswaga Mahanun, the 5 ascetics who one attained so on at Dhammachakra, 1 week later, he just asked one question from them. Do you have an eye? Its eye is permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, sir. What you see outside there, what that? Again, it's rupa, sir. It is permanent or impermanent? Impermanent. The consciousness which puts that together, is it permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, sir. So like that, he moves from eye to ear, to the nose, to the tongue, to the body and to the mind. And finally, can you establish oneself within that? Can you establish ego into that? Can you include and build a continuous Atman or a soul into that? No, sir. They all attain Arahattu. So again, I would like to mention on this holy Poya day, this achieving liberation is not rocket science. It's not rocket science at all. It is nothing but following this way we discussed now. I think time is coming closer to end the session. So the topic of living with perfect bliss, one has to get it carefully because bliss is sometimes artificially created and they market it with various, like the tranquility. Hotel sector use tranquility to market their products. It is not that bliss here. It is the bliss arrives through stillness of the mind. Why? If your mind is not still, it starts grasping the all sense dose activity and it gives rise to craving and clinging and the existence continues. With that, we achieve bliss, and it doesn't end from there. Although the topic is there with bliss, I will not give you the final, to run the final relay, I will not give the baton properly if I don't mention about ecstasy, which is achieved through vipassana. The key to open the door to liberation, to realize that there's no self, it is only elements, mind and matter, it's a flux which arises and passes away due to cause and effect. And if one can't fit in self there you achieve the state of so on. Simple as that. State of simple as that. For that you need Kalyana Mitra guidance, your companionship in the correct way. You have to listen to Dhamma. You have to be in a place like the forum today, where there is miles and miles which separate us with the great ocean. Still we communicate. That's listening to Dhamma, like what we do now on this Poya day over this session. And then comes the Yoniso Manasikara, which is wise consideration, or there's a word called Sampajana, wise comprehension. Very clearly understand what's on, what you're on, and what is the status of the mind. That's all comes under Yoniso Manasikara. And with Yoniso Manasikara, all unwholesome status gets to cease. And there you go. You get to Dhamma Dhamma Patipatti, means not just showing the world that you are holy. You are finally, your mind is with ecstasy. That means you have realized the truth that there's no self around. So what happened is existence starts ceasing, and that leads you to separate liberation in 4 stages, so on. If you and I, even the world is corrupt, you can achieve very well. Don't give up that thing. Exert the mind, strive. What we mentioned at the beginning will lead you to the bliss and ecstasy we are talking about. And finally, during the span of this Buddha Dhamma, in a burning world, you can very well liberate yourself from existence. So that brings to the end of the session. I give over to Lakshman to conduct the balance, and with the blessings of the Holy Triple Gem, and also the blessings of the Dhatu Chaitya or the relics of the Buddha, because 95% of its relics are in Sri Lanka, and the great tree which he attained Bodhihood, the original is here, like that is thrice blessed island. Here, Dhamma still exists genuinely. With all the threats around today, still genuine Dhamma exists. And today, you had the opportunity to listen to the truth, nothing but the truth, so that we could liberate ourselves from this samsara and suffering. May you all be happy, safe, and free of suffering. Over to you, Lakshman.
Thank you very much, Venerable Tero. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I think Venerable Tero has gone through very much in detail of the topic. I think many times on the attaining perfect bliss and also how we can liberate ourselves. I think Venerable Tero mentioned about the truth-based realm. I think that's of great importance, and of course the tranquility, and of course the stillness of the mind, which are very important, and many other important areas, of course, touching on the ecstasy, which I think is another important area, and to get into vipassana meditation. There are a few questions, Venerable Tero, I think, which we can go through. There are, of course, some just one simple question which I will ask is there. It's an anonymous attendee. Is Preeti same as bliss?
Come again.
Is Preeti same as bliss?
No, it's not exactly. When you say piti, in the process of establishing the tranquility, four stages are you take the subject, and when you retain it for some time, that speed what we spoke is broken. Then what happened? The relaxation. There are two aspects of to achieve, to bring the mind to one pointedness. First, the material aspect should relax. Then the mental aspect has to relax. Actually, this piti and sukha, it's written in words in books, but this is nothing but, with my experience and Buddha's, so much of suttas and atuvas and tikas, the original Buddha word, it's nothing, a state of mind which is slowly moving out from the hindrances. So that it can't call it bliss, is the total entity of taking the meditative subject, sustaining it, and relaxation of the mental and the matter part of it. And there comes concentration. Once you come to samadhi or ekaggata, then you get the bliss is there. So it's almost sound the same when you say piti and bliss, but piti should evolve to reach the bliss.
Thank you.
Piti and sukha is two mental status which qualifies you to get to the bliss, which is given rise through the one-pointedness of ekaggata. I trust that is clear. That's one has to experience yourself. You can't find a theoretical explanation as per the book says. You have to experience yourself.
Thank
I
you.
trust it's
The next question, it's from Samantha Jayatilaka. It's a long one, but I'll try to read it. Thank you, Bante, for another excellent, valuable, and inspiring talk. Bante talked about eradicating craving or bonding. To truly achieve this, does one need to experience impermanence through meditation? Then continues, need to see all conditioned phenomena arising and passing every moment through the meditation practice, and no one person has control of anything. So no point in clinging to anything. Is this understanding correct, Bante?
uh, it's a question which is very relevant to what we discussed. So it's very relevant. But remember, all this process we spoke of bliss and ecstasy, mind, what you call tranquility, leading to insight, status, mind and matter, cause and effect arising, passing away. That whole process lead to emptiness. It's just not emptiness. Please remember that. It's just not his power. In Buddhist theory, in the Buddhist doctrine, as per Buddha's word, there is emptiness when the suffering ends. That's at Nibbana. That's where real emptiness is there, emptiness from suffering. Then there's another point where emptiness is very evident, that is emptiness of realizing no self. That is, once you realize so on or whatever it is, you live, but you live devoid of self. Please, I think that application is correct, that word. It gives so much of, it leads to tranquility, it leads to ecstasy. When you are among the people, remember, even Rahatan Vahanse, when he achieved Arahathood, he lives in society. Just like us, he see, he smell, he taste, he remembers his past, he has past memories, but only thing he doesn't create craving and clinging, because for him it's just a process of mind and matter activity, call it kriya state. So that means in Pali it says skanda atha keles natha. There is elements, but there's no bondage. That's very beautiful. So likewise, whenever one develops mind, live devoid of self, there's emptiness. So therefore, that question, what that devotee is asked, is correct, but it should be rephrased in that manner. Therefore, that word he had mentioned, I don't know whether I got it correct, useless, no need of doing anything. No, no. It's just not nothing, and okay, that's the end of it. Finish it. No interest in life. No, don't do that, because I keep on with experience into this path. If you practically start following it, uh, we did a mistake. People get to robes, gihi gaya kalakirila. You get fed up of the lay life. Don't do that. When you do it, you get to sasana as a damaged mentality. Then you damage the sasana also. That's what's happening all around. But you have to get fed up of the sansaric existence, not gihigedara. We were trained during Mall time, Gosatano, Gihige Kalakiri. He renunciated because he's fed up with life. No, no, that's wrong application. You have to realize the gravity of samsara. This whole manner we spoke for 1.5 hours, that all what we do, those emotional thinking, how the karma comes back, how you get back to the suffering state, how the new karma, how you cling and how you go on and go on and go on. Realize that, and that leads you to free from bondage. So, therefore, that little word he used, I don't know what he really meant by it's not doing anything, but it's just not just emptiness, it is emptiness you find at the time when you end the suffering and when you are living devoid of self. That is bliss of uh, which ecstasy which leads to liberation. I hope that question is answered. It's a long answer I had to give, but it's such a valuable question.
Thank you, Bhante. The next question, we are having so many, but I don't know whether we can take all, but we'll try to do as much as possible. How can one stop mental proliferation, Bhante? Is it possible to have a mind or consciousness free of thoughts? Does the consciousness always need to have an object? If so, try to maintain constant, wholesome thoughts. Thank you, Bhante.
Um, the question raised, the way I perceive, is to stop this mind evolution going and creating generation of samsara or existence, and how to stop provocation of the mind. Uh, the answer for that, that's what the path Buddha said, Sila, Samadhi, Prajna. First, develop your virtues by controlling your senses. That's very important. Without that link, only when you think you come to that question. First, one has to control senses by sort of endurance you have through sila. When you say sila, that are arising through intentions, and that has no religious connotation. Buddhist, Christian, or any guy could develop virtues by restraining senses. What happened? Those five naughty fellows, the arch enemy, the hindrances starts getting controlled. Then you get to mindfulness. You sustain a thought and you calm the mind or stillness of the mind. Then your mind is very, very, and you get to analytical status of the mind. You use that as just like a sharp, double-edged cutting knife. You look at the universe, you look at what's happening around. Then only the stages we discussed, mind and matter, cause and effect, it's a major subject. And then with that, it's not stopping the mental activity. Please don't mix it up. So as the question raises, it not by cultivating meritorious deeds. Remember, meritorious deed is also the activity of the mind which give meritorious results. What happened meritorious results? It's again help you to cling the existence. Akusal saha kusal dekama maraya කියලා බුදුහාමුදුරුවෝ කිව්වා. In the Panchamara, he says Kandamara is the aggregates, Kleshamara is the defilements. Then he gives Abhisankamara. This is a huge, highly debatable area. And that's the wrong part, not sorry to say wrong, but that's a misguidance. Most of our generation said, cultivate merit, cultivate merit. That's what you need. But cultivating merit also extend the power because you cling through that. Any meritorious deed you do, and you expect to good returns to you in the future. So therefore, in that question, I think at the point he said, okay, we develop mind like this to end proliferation of the mind. That's all correct. But you have to realize that mind is a flux and the material or elements, it's a flux. Any flux in the universe, that's no Buddhism, that is nothing but quantum physics. And of course, that's exactly what Buddha said. That's what Buddhism is, nothing but. Earlier it said it was a religion. Then when Lakshman and we were all young, we were taught its philosophy, and I have no time to explain Swakato, Sanditiko, Akadiko. If I take all those 6 areas, it gives rise, it is nothing but absolutely truth of the world. That's how explanation goes. So therefore, you need to sabapapassa karanam kusalassa upasampada. But finally, there's a sachitta paryodapana, purifying the mind. Otherwise, wholesome deeds also add to existence. So I trust that question is answered.
Thank you, Venerable. There's a question from Mr. Ranjit Tabru. Venerable Sir, when one has experienced a tragedy such as illness or death, what is the best way of obtaining a tranquil mind?
Didn't get the question correct.
When one has experienced a tragedy such as illness or death, what is the best way of obtaining a tranquil mind?
Uh, when you are ill, when you have lot of body pains, it's very difficult to achieve a tranquil mind because pain overtakes the mind, get occupied on the degree of your illness. So tranquility has to be achieved, not that sickness or death, that should be achieved through mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is satipatthana, and satipatthana is nothing but you have to have the vipassana experience, that to see body as body, feeling as feeling, and all that mind components like chittanupassana, dhammanupassana, and the whole gamut of it. How to do it? Through, that is, with darshana meditation. Now, see, if somebody is sick and somebody is close to death, or you experience death in the family or your loved ones, you can't get to tranquility and then start managing that thing. One with a tranquil mind, of course, his Siri is a very good devotee of us. Tranquil mind you achieve, so the cutting edge is there to realize the truth, or the reality. With that, you have to be mindful what is body, what is elements. You have to be mindful about the pleasure and displeasure, the feeling, and then the mind formations, and then the consciousness. With all that put together, one can't, with tranquility in the mind, you can't stop body falling sick. Body falls sick because we discussed at the beginning the whole 8 things, samvega, vattu, emotions, the 8 emotions what you have to have. Their death is there, sickness is there. So what it's part of life. So when that comes, if you are mindful, then you can say, look here, what's happening? There's unbearable pain. What is that pain? That is the mind-related thing. Mind-related thing arises and passes away because it's a flux of the mind. And it related to the body. Body is again a flux arising, passing away. Through that you realize there is pain, there is sickness, but there's no sufferer there. That's how you get to terms with death, get to terms with illness. Not by stopping, there's no theory how to stop illness and death, but of course, if your samsara journey is over, jati jara vyadi chuti, etika api ar avijjaya teva kiyala dependent origin reverse eකට යන්නේ. Reverse eකට කියන, therefore there's no more beginning birth, there's no more sickness, there's no more suffering. Like that, but otherwise, as far as existence is there, there is sickness, there is death. There's tranquility alone will not help. Tranquility helps you to put the foundation which is required to be mindful. Mindfulness is nothing but vidarshana. So the answer for three is one has to develop insights and realize that there is suffering, there is death, but there's no person out there suffering or facing death. That leads to liberation.
Thank you, Bante. There is a question from Umasugi Nadraja from Jaffna. That's really about attending meditation classes. Umasugi, I will discuss with Venerable Thero and get back to you. There is a question from Kusum Jayasuriya. I think this will be the last question because of our time. According to Dhamma, there is no I or self. How good and bad Sankara tag to one individual to take his or her responsibility? Thank you. This
Uh,
is a question
uh,
I am asking.
it's a good question, but time is running out to answer it. But answer is to answer that question, one has to study and realize cause and effect. Otherwise, you can say, how can it be a person who is doing that karma? So, in dependent on Tinnam Passati Sango, there should be a faculty, there should be an object, and there should be a consciousness. That combination give rise to that result what that devotee is talking about. So dependent origination give rise to that, not individual as such out there. That question need to be discussed on a very much more clearly platform with much more time taken. But shortest answer is focus on dependent origination. It's just not merely reading what it is or trying to perceive through literature and reading what it is. It is nothing but take an objective yourself. Let it be breathing, let it be body or any action. You say, how did it arrive? Now, if you say yourself, who am I? How did I arise? Is it mom and pop or only that? Or is it the ignorance which creates karma and that karma force get mind and matter together? Like that, when you analyze, you find the answer.
Thank you, Bante. I think there are a few more questions, but I'm sorry that we are unable to take because of the time. May I now invite Mr. Senaka Samarasinghe, our committee member, to pay merit and to Venerable Thero.
I would like to take this opportunity to wish you, sir, a good future in your life because you have explained everything in simple language, in deep Dhamma. How the Western world is living Sukhavadya and how to do away with this five hindrances and how to make use of speed trains and highways. Those are the things that we are using these days. But anyhow, how you explain this, each and every person can understand what is beauty of Dhamma. That is the real Dhamma. That is the way of using beauty of Dhamma, the way that you explain just nearly more than half an hour, more than 1 hour. So we wish all of us, wish you all the best in your future activities in Kurunagala as well as in Colombo. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Venerable Thero. I know that Venerable Thero today is a very tiring day after the hard work in Kurunagala, where, as Venerable Thero mentioned, over 400 Dayakas were there and listening to Dhamma and also meditation, which is the key area in which Venerable Amathagaveshi is involved. I must also thank the other members who are present. I am sorry that I could not give any time to them because of the time factor, and also Ranmali, who is there from who is Dayaka of Venerable Thero, and I know I can see that Sandhya Malkanti. Sorry that we cannot at this time because of the time factor we can do anything. But please send your question on Q&A so that I can then speak to Venerable Thero and get him to answer the question that you are having. So Venerable Thero, thank you very much. And before we end, may I invite Venerable Thero to pay merit to the Devas and also to the departed. Sir.
Uh, Today, on the holy Poya day, we spend this hour or so discussing Dhamma to enlighten ourselves so that we make the best use of this present life to escape from samsara, especially in a world burning from all sides, although there's so much of development around. So therefore, the wholesome deed, especially hats off to Lakshman for encouraging me to commit on a Poya Day activity. Normally, Poya Day, we don't take anything, but with my utmost respect to him, the endeavor he does to spread this message around the globe, I accepted it. I couldn't refuse him. So the merit we all gain through this Dhamma discussion, listening to Dhamma, contemplating, and trying to understand the way of escape. May this merit be conveyed to all the deities who are out there, who waits for the message of Buddha to be uttered in the human world. May all deities gain this merit and achieve Nibbana, and may the life they spend in the divine boards be happy and safe. And also all the loved ones who had departed, Lakshman's parents, or who are these panel members' parents, and the other loved ones, especially today, Dr. Santimala De Silva, who is a pediatric specialist in Sri Lanka. She has been a very good devotee in the Buddha Sasana and also helped us in many meritorious activities and keen participant of Samatha Vidarshana. Her husband passed away, so therefore may their merit be conveyed to Dr. Lal De Silva, who parted us day before yesterday. May all the loved ones who have parted and who were on this forum earlier and passed away since then, may they achieve Nibbana and may they get released from suffering states by any chance they have got there due to incorrect mentality. So may all departed loved ones achieve Nibbana. Tervan Saranin, Ananta Budupana Balen, Dhaka Chaitya Saranin, and also with my heartfelt blessing, may all participants be happy, safe, and free of suffering. May all disasters looming in the world, and may the unexpected sicknesses may not fall on you, and may you be protected, and may you be safe and happy. Abhivadana Silissa Nityam Vadha Pachayino Chattaro Dhamma Vardhantu Ayuvanno Sukham Balam Ayurarokya Sampatti Sakka Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Minate Samicchatu. Whether you are Sri Lanka or far away, may you develop the bliss and lead to ecstasy that you will conquer the unending samsara. May you all be happy, and may Lakshman have the strength and the will and the knowledge to continue this Dhamma service to the entire human world. Tervan Saranam.
Sadhu. Thank you very much, Venerable Thero. With the blessings of the Triple Gem, that all activities and the Dhamma sermons and the meditation programs will be all successful, and we will be able to get invite Venerable Teru maybe for a meditation session which we can conduct for all our Dhamma friends. Sadhu, sadhu,
Yes.
sadhu, sadhu.
So,
So we will end this session now, and once again, our blessings and much merit to Venerable Teru. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.